In this video, we'll demonstrate how to configure the Site Integrators S3 Bucket SharePoint WebPart, which will allow SharePoint users to browse and download files or objects from an S3 bucket. To begin with, let's log into the AWS console. Let's go to S3. And as you can see, there are two buckets listed. We will select the first bucket, which is Site Integrated Test-com. Within this bucket, we have several files in a folder. And within this folder, there is another file or object in another subfolder. And within that subfolder, another file. So let's go back out to the top level of this bucket. And once we configure our web part within SharePoint, you will see these objects or files listed within SharePoint. So let's go to SharePoint. The first thing that we want to do is we want to create a new page within SharePoint. So we want to go to Site Contents. And from there, we want to go to Site Pages. And let's do New Document to create a new page. And what we want to do here is we want to name our page the same name as our S3 bucket. So we'll put that name there. Do Create. And we'll do Save. Okay, our page has been created within SharePoint. Now we need to add the web part. So we'll go to the Page tab, do Edit, and within Edit we will do Insert. Select the Insert tab. And from there, we will select Web Part from the toolbar. From there, we will go to Custom, and we will select the Site Integrators S3 Bucket Browser. And we will do Add, and we will do Save. Okay, so our page has been created, and we have added our S3 Bucket web part. And if you notice, there's no objects or file listed on this page as of yet. In order for that to happen, we need to configure our web part with the settings for our S3 bucket. So we'll go to Page, we will go to Edit, and this will put our page in edit mode. And on that page, we will edit our web part. So we will do Edit Web Part. And on the right hand side, you will see our web part property box. And we will select Extended Settings. And the first property that we will set will be the local temporary storage path. So we will do this. We'll add a path called on the C drive called Downloads. And what this is that when a user downloads a object or a file from the S3 bucket, the web part will download it and store it in a temporary storage location on this web server or the SharePoint server. Then from there, it will be downloaded to the client's computer. And one thing to note here is that if you have several SharePoint servers within your web farm, make sure that this location exists on all of the servers within your SharePoint farm. Okay, the next thing we want to do is specify the region, which is US East 1. Then we want to add our bucket name. Then we want to add the secret key. Oh, sorry about that. Got too zealous here and clicked off of it. Let's try that again. So let's enter our path again. Select the regent. We'll paste in our secret key, and we will also paste in our access key, and we will put in the name of the bucket again, and we will do apply. Then we will do OK. And as you can see, once we apply these settings for our S3 bucket, the objects are listed from our S3 buckets are listed in our SharePoint site. So let's save this page so we can get out of edit mode. Now let's go back to our S3 console. And as you can see, the files that are listed within our SharePoint page are the exact same as in our S3 bucket. And note these last two, these are the files or objects within the folders and subfolders within our S3 bucket, and those are listed with the folder and subfolder as a prefix. Now to download a file from our S3 bucket, we just click the download button, and as you can see with our browser pop-up for download, the download has completed. So we'll open that, and there you are. So we just downloaded this file from our S3 bucket. And you might ask, why have a WebPart within SharePoint that allows user to access an S3 bucket? One is that if you have many companies are moving their infrastructure, their IT infrastructure to the cloud, AWS in particular, and with that they are storing files and objects within their S3 bucket, within S3. In order for a user to have access to that object or file within your S3 bucket, you would have to give them the access key and the secret key in order to gain access for that, or you would just configure a URL for that object that would include the access keys within the query string of that URL, in which they would go directly to that object and have the ability to download it. Also, with SharePoint relies on Active Directory for security. And if you tie a particular S3 bucket to a particular page in SharePoint, and you configure that page only to be accessed by certain users, in a sense you are taking your AD security within SharePoint and you are extending that to S3. For example, let's say we had a S3 bucket for our finance department. So what we would do is come to SharePoint, create a page for our finance department, configure our WebPart on that page to access the finance department S3 bucket. Then within SharePoint, only grant users within the finance department access to that particular page. So that department will be the only one that has the ability to browse or download files from that S3 bucket. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a nice day.